This podcast is sponsored by Talkspace.
Last year, I went through many different life changes. I needed to take a pause and examine how I was feeling in the inside to better show up for the ones who need me to be my best version of myself.
When you're navigating life's changes, Talkspace can help. Talkspace is the #1 rated online therapy, bringing you professional support from licensed therapists and psychiatry providers that you can access anytime, anywhere.
Living a busy life, navigating a long-distance relationship, becoming a first-step father, Talkspace made all of those journeys possible. I could speak with my therapist in the office. I could speak with my therapist in the comfort of my home. I was never alone.
Talkspace works with most major insurers, and most insured members have a $0 copay. No insurance, no problem. Now get $80 off your first month with promo code SPACE80 when you go to Talkspace.com. Match with a licensed therapist today at Talkspace.com. Save $80 with code SPACE80 at Talkspace.com.
You're listening to the Best Morning Routine Ever podcast, the show that proves no one stumbles upon success ever. With your host, Lou Need. Every Mondays and Thursdays, we deliver cold hard evidence behind the power of a robust morning routine. Get ready to be transformed by the renewal of your mind.
Hello, morning enthusiasts. Welcome to the Best Morning Routine Ever podcast. I am your host, Dr. Lou Need, and today I am elated to have a very special guest to the show, Ciara Azam. Now, she's the founder of Eventist, a revolutionary fitness tech platform, get this, that is built to serve the studios that big tech ignores. So we're talking computer engineer graduate from University of Waterloo, 8 years of development experience. She launched her business while raising 2 kids and learned how to dance and navigate that motherhood along with entrepreneurship. So I'm really excited to hear her journey, her trial and errors, and of course her success throughout this process, because she's doing something that is pretty bold. She's taking on competitors like MindBody, and her story is of grit and innovation. So with no further ado, Ciara, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me. I was just saying before the show started that this is one of the podcasts I do listen to. One of my friends recommended. So I'm so stoked to be on here because you could say I'm a fan. So yeah, thank you for having me.
Yes, of course. We love a hero's journey. I know I spoke about it just a little bit, launching your business with raising kids. Let's talk about what got you to this platform. Usually, sometimes it's a frustration that we have, and then we create a solution. We found a problem, create a solution. Tell us about yours. What was your journey like?
Yeah, so I guess you could say I've always wanted to build my own software, even in high school. And the thing I lacked was ideas. The closest I got was I wanted to build an app called In Pursuit, where it would be like Manhunt with Google Maps. Mm-hmm. And then it would like give you clues where you have to like go or like capture the flag, those kinds of games. Mm-hmm. And it was tough to build. And also, I don't think anyone would use it other than me. So it never really got built. And I just lacked ideas. And then I had lost my job, and one of my friends said, "Oh, I have this great app idea. Let me take you out to lunch," which at the time I was thinking, oh, like, I don't want to hear your app idea. I just lost my job. Most people have app ideas, and it's like, I want to make Tinder, but for cats. And you're like, no, like the world doesn't need this. But she's a friend. So I went out to lunch and she told me about her idea, which was actually quite good. So she wanted to build a software for dance competitions, because right now they use gymnastics software. And that's where it kind of started, because my big thing is if I build something, you can have a great idea, but who's going to get, like, I don't have millions sitting around to market it. So, who's going to use it? And she was saying, well, it's such a niche product and she knows all the competition organizers. So she's like, you'll build it and I'll bring you the organizers. So I'm like, okay, you know what? I'll actually build that then. And it'll just be this niche little thing for dance competitions. But then we took our time. We built it really well. I think good software, you should take your time and take as long as you need to build it out really well. And then people liked it. So they started asking for more and more. They were saying, hey, can you get this? Can you get it to do different sports? Can you get it to do studios? Like, I want to use Eventist to manage my studios. I'm just running a regular event. Can it do that? So then it just slowly ballooned into this, like, what started as a really pet project with a relatively small code base is now this beast of a software that can do quite a quite versatile ticketing. Yeah.
Oh, wow. And it didn't start with studios. You actually evolved and grew to that, because you started with the dancing app. And
yes.
And you describe yourself as a non-dancer who learned to dance. Is that related to that first idea?
Exactly. Yeah. So I did learn to dance. I had danced before because, again, my friend, her name's Emily. We used to be roommates and she's a professional dancer. So it's kind of hard to be roommates with a professional dancer without like going out with her sometimes, going out to salsa socials, things like that. But I hadn't like trained seriously. But then when I built the software, I was thinking, okay, well, I might as well attend a competition and see what it's like, because it's one thing to hear feedback from people and say, oh, XYZ is so annoying. And it's another thing to actually live through XYZ and see, oh, okay, here's how we can make our product better. So I attended a competition with her that actually didn't use Eventist, just to go through how is the sign up currently? Where are the sticking points? Things like that. And also to show the dance community that I would like to learn what they do. And I appreciate dancers. And it's hard work. When people say, oh, dance is not real exercise. I rock climb. I would say I'm a pretty fit human being, and dance is real exercise, guys. Like, oh. Yeah. And so I went there, I competed, I came last, and I did my best. Yep.
Victory. Yeah. You did something that you would not have done if it wasn't for the app.
Yeah, no, I would never have foreseen paying money to go dance and be judged on your dancing ability. That I never saw that in the cards for me.
Yeah.
But
I bet that helped with the transition to entrepreneurship, right? Because I don't imagine you had the entrepreneurship background, or you thought about it, right?
I'm still so bad at it. And I've read the books, and the sales books tell you what to say, but ultimately I'll be on a call with someone and they'll say, oh, I don't want to use your software because it doesn't have this one tiny feature. And I'll be like, okay, sucks to suck. Like, all right. Have a nice day. And in my mind, I know that's not the right answer. The books tell you, what you should say, but I don't have the heart to do it. So we probably have to hire a salesperson. But I'm just like, yeah, use it if you want. If you don't want to, don't use it. I don't know. But yeah, definitely. I was there as a vendor and as a competitor, and it was a great learning curve. And, it was definitely an experience. I also learned, how they say salespeople, you have a tough job. There were so many nice people. I'd say 99% of the nice people there were lovely, encouraging, just kind people. But then there was that 1% that almost ruins the whole experience. They're just, whew.
I know the 1%. Now, you bring up something that's very interesting, because I think we see that a lot. Coders, developers, behind the computer, you guys are geniuses. But when it comes out to, that call to get the sale, you're like, oh, okay, you don't want it. Talk to you later. Bye. That happens. And so tell us about, because you are successful still, right? But you just mentioned that you may have to hire out. And that's knowing what you're good at, what your niche is, and kind of focusing on that, and then delegating the rest. And that's powerful. That's a good lesson to know as an entrepreneur. So talk to us about that.
Yeah. So in terms of knowing what you're good and bad at, I don't know if I have a ton of advice there, other than maybe ask people close to you and say, hey, I'm trying to figure out what my strengths and weaknesses are. Maybe don't rip me a new one, but can you give me constructive feedback on things you think are my weak areas and what my strengths are? And then you can kind of build an idea of what you're good or bad at. But I would say most people have some idea going into it, what they're good and bad at. Yeah. I would say for a developer, I'm fairly friendly. I'm not super antisocial. There are definitely a lot of developers that are, but I would say I'm okay with people, but I definitely lack marketing and sales information. Mm-hmm. So our initial website was just we sell tickets pretty much. And that was it. And it was just make an account. Here you go. It exists. And then I started sending it out to friends of mine that do work in marketing and who are experts in the field. And they had a lot of notes. And they've been giving advice and feedback. And then we've been evolving, and I started reading books on it. Things like that, and just learning and growing through there and trying to implement those things as you go. So basically, know what you're good at, know what you're weak at. You can try to get better. If you can't afford to hire someone, then you kind of have to do it yourself, in which case, accept that you're bad, ask for help from everyone, try your best, and then ask for reviews. So for example, if I read a marketing book and I'm like, okay, well, I can't afford a marketing person right now, so I got to do it myself, then you're going to implement it and then go back to your friend who is in marketing and say, how does this look to you? And then you can go from there. And the same goes for hiring. So I would say I can speak from the experience as a developer is there are good developers and there are bad developers in the world. And I assume that's true in all fields. So when you're hiring, I would say if you can get someone on the call with you who is an expert, try, like maybe interview them once or twice yourself, but then get someone who really knows what they're talking about for that last interview or for a technical interview so that you can make sure that the person you're hiring is qualified in that area where you have no skill set. Because I've seen tons of times where companies, they'll have a wonderful idea, but they hire terrible developers to execute it. And then they end up with this like really expensive, hard to maintain product. Whereas if they had just brought on a good developer, even if they can't afford to hire that developer right away, good developers can kind of like spot each other out. So, if you can bring one into one of those technical interviews and just make sure that you get good talent. And that would go for marketing as well. Cause I'm sure there's great salespeople, there's terrible salespeople, and I don't have the skill set to know one from the other. So when we do hire, I will ask some of those friends to sit in on those interviews with me.
Yeah, that is sound advice. And it sounds like you're utilizing your friends quite frequently and well.
Quite a bit. Yeah.
And there's no shame in that. And they're there to help you. And then that's the best way to get a mentor too, right? Because then you follow up. They give you advice or they come in and sit in the interview with you. And then they'll say, oh, how's that person working out for you? Like, oh yeah, I'm hitting this wall with motivating them, blah, blah, blah. And then they can actually chime in on how to motivate them because then they're probably a developer or marketer themselves. So they would know. And I can see the value in that.
Yeah. And I guess like it should, in theory, a good friendship should go both ways in the sense of I provide support if they need support in any technical areas. But yeah, you definitely utilize your friends. And I think if no one can be good at everything. So if you assemble a team and everyone has their own strengths, then suddenly you have a team that fills all the company's needs. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like a nice pot, mm-hmm. All the right pieces, right people.
Exactly.
So with growing your business and entrepreneurship, and you eloquently and vulnerably said, I'm still really bad at it. So how do you stay grounded and motivated when odds are stacked against you, right? When you are hitting the wall and you not know what to do, how do you stay grounded? How do you get to continue to show up?
Yeah, so a couple things. One of them is that our main competitors are companies like MindBody, Eventbrite, Ticketmaster, things like that, where they have a lot of money. So the amount of money they spend on marketing every day, even if I wanted to, I can't compete. So I simply cannot. I don't have enough money to compete and get like Google ads to show up because the cost per click is like astronomical because they have so much money. We don't. So I kind of rely on we give away like royalties. So essentially, if someone refers a studio or an event to us, we give that person a royalty every time that event is run for life. So that's one incentive, because then when someone uses the software, usually event runners know other event runners, right? So if they use us and they like us, we further incentivize by saying, hey, if you refer someone else, you now get 5% of the revenue generated for life on that one event. So as long as they continue to use it, you make money. That has been probably 90% of our new leads has come just from that system. And the other thing that I kind of do, so I read all the marketing and all the stuff where it's like, oh, you have to make someone want it. And it just doesn't sit well in my gut. So I've kind of thrown that out and gone with, if we have a great product and it's really reasonably priced, and my goal isn't to make money, but my goal is actually to make the world a better place. I want to increase human connection. I want to make it easier for people to start companies and to get people together. And tickets do that. Like yoga studios, dance studios, concerts, they all get people together. So if I can make a really great software, people will see that and they will use it. So it's been mostly, the rest is like word of mouth and just people seeing the value there that we're actually trying to do good. And I always tell people, because the biggest piece of advice I get from marketing companies is, oh, you should increase the price of your product. And to that, I say, if I'm a multi-millionaire, either I'm charging too much or I'm not paying my employees enough. Like one of those two things has to be true. So I'm like, unless there's a need to increase that price, I'm not going to. And I think people see that. So it's been kind of like, it's been very organic growth just because Eventbrite charges like $2,000 a day in their Google ad spend alone. So I can't afford that.
It's the best approach, the word of mouth. Yeah. It's free. Can you elaborate on the 1.9 ticket sales approach and how it works?
For people that's for studios. So we have different pricing models for different things. Like if you're just running like a concert ticket, let's say, or a festival, it's 25 cents Canadian per ticket sold, flat fee. Like that's our processing fee. So even if you have a $300 ticket, it's just 25 cents. So it's not a percentage base, because what people hate is when they buy a $300 concert ticket and then they pay like $30 in ticket fees. Like that's ridiculous. It costs us the same to sell a ticket and to send the emails and do all the processing, regardless of the actual price of the ticket. So we just have a flat fee there. And then for studios, we charge a percentage of the ticket sale. So we charge 0.5 to 1.9%, depending on how big of a studio you are. So if you're a huge studio, you pay less. But generally, that's the bracket that we operate in. And it's entirely free to use. And then when you sell tickets to your studio, we take that 1.9%. So if you sell a $100 ticket, we take $1.90. And that's just how it works. So if you make nothing, we make nothing. If you make a lot, we make a lot. And that kind of incentivizes us to do, because a lot of the like mind, body and things will be a fixed price per month, but that doesn't incentivize them to give good support. It doesn't incentivize them to help them run the studio properly, because they're making the same amount no matter what. Whereas in our case, our goal is to save you time, get you more time with your friends and family, save you money, and help you make more money. And if we're not doing that, you're going to switch away, right? So our goal is actually to help you make more money so that we make more money, is kind of how I explain that. Yeah.
Yeah, and you're disrupting the fitness industry in that way, because I don't believe any other big tech, fitness tech companies like MindBody are doing it in that way. So there's that disruption right there on your end.
Yeah. And then we've lowered that cost for bigger studios so that it is still competitive month to month to those other systems. But it also helps the little guys. Like if you just sell, let's say like private lessons, or in the fitness industry, like if you're a personal trainer and you want people to book with you, for you, the like $80 a month for, Punch Pass or something else like that could be quite a bit. Mm-hmm. So in that case, Eventist really works because it's free. If you sell nothing that month, you don't get charged anything. So it's really good for people starting out, because you only give us money when you make money, I guess.
Yeah. I've seen, I used to do a lot of yoga and Brigham yoga, and they use the studio, and I would need to sign up on MindBody. Same thing for Pilates. And these are the type of studios that are using such software. But I tell you, they're always switching every 3-4 months. They test it out and they're like, oh, we're not using that anymore. Go on our website, book the classes ahead of time. And so Eventist, how is it different? How's the UX?
Okay. This is getting into it. Okay. So the one thing we have differently, we own the servers that Eventist runs on, and then we rent a rack for security, because I can't just have a server in my house. If someone broke in, that would be not good. So we rent the rack, but that means we pay a flat fee, 120 USD per year for the server. So we have really low costs. And then on top of that, we actually have we have a partition database by event. So right now, the biggest complaint with MindBody is that when you click a button, it takes forever for things to load. And it's just very, very slow. And that's because they probably never indexed it off the get-go. And now it would be too hard for them to go through and partition by person or by event, by account. Whereas we did it right off from the beginning. So when you're going to the checkout, it's just loading from that one user. So like the studio owner, they have their own like little section of the database and it loads really quickly for them. So that would be one thing. The other thing is we have one-click checkouts. I hate making accounts for things, and all of them make you make an account. I hate it. I think it should be optional. So what we do is when you go to checkout, if there's a membership, we make you do an email verification to make sure it's a real email or that you didn't mistype it. But other than that, you can just do the verification, checkout, and that's it. And if you ever go back to that page, the checkout page is also your member portal. So when you go back, you can see all of your past memberships, everything you've purchased in the past, all in one place from that email verification. If you buy a ticket that's not a membership and then you want to go back later, you can do the email verification later and see everything. So it's kind of like we create the account for you on the back end without you even noticing so that you can go back anytime. So from the end user's perspective, that's probably the nicest thing is there's one checkout with all the stuff you want to see and you don't have to make an account and it's really quick and easy. From the studio owner's perspective, the big thing that people like is there's a lot of classes that build on each other where like the best example would be like an art class. If I take a 10-week art class and I just show up on week 8, I'm going to be behind everyone else. They're going to have a full painting and I'm going to have a blank canvas, right? So, and that's true in fitness and other spaces as well, where they'll have classes that build on each other. And right now, they're called multi-week sessions, but you have to recreate them every 8 weeks. And it can take days for studio owners to do that. So what we do is we allow you to create indefinite classes, but also you can like customize, we call them blocks. So class blocks, and you can get them to recur automatically. So you create it once and then it'll just automatically recur at whatever frequency you set it to. Mm-hmm. And then you can go in and drag and drop and move the blocks around. So if you want to go on vacation for 2 weeks, you just move the block 2 weeks out and it'll prorate all of your memberships for you and do all that kind of stuff. So the idea is it just saves you time.
Yeah, no, that's nice. It sounds like it's clean and easy to use, easy for the user back front end.
Yeah, hopefully. Yeah. Easy to use, saves time, quick. And if it isn't those things, you should let us know because that means we're doing something wrong.
Yeah. Let's talk about your morning routine. How do you get up, dress up, and show up?
Yeah. So I guess you could say do as I say, not as I do, because I listen to this show and everyone has these great routines. I have a great nighttime routine, but in the morning, I actually do nothing. Like I wake up with the kids, obviously we eat breakfast, I get them ready, and I don't really have a ton of time for myself because everyone's like, oh, I do these kind of like ritualistic things. Maybe I'm just not a morning person. I don't know. But yeah, I wake up. One thing I do is I put my kids to sleep in their clothes for the next day so that in the morning you don't have to change them. And that's one thing that like saves a bit of time. But other than that, yeah, we wake up, we eat breakfast, I drop them off at daycare, and then I come back and usually I'll drink tea, and I actually don't work first thing in the morning. That's where like I'll watch YouTube videos, but I set a time cap on it. I'm like, okay, we're just waking up, whatever. And I just unwind, watch YouTube videos, drink tea. And I'll set it. I'll be like, okay, at 9:30, I'm going to start working. So I kind of start my day with that break, and it helps me transition from chaos of having kids running around to focusing on development. And because I set that time limit, I find it helps, and you just kind of have to stick to it. And somehow, as you go on through like weeks and weeks of it, your brain is like, okay, in that 30-minute window, I'm going to be ready to work. And the first few times you're like, I still don't feel like working. But over time, if you do it consistently, by the 30-minute mark, you're like, okay, I'm ready. And you just get used to it. And then you can be super productive, I find. And then in the evenings, what I do, this helps with sleep, is I turn my phone off, turn all lights off, and I will stretch and roll for 30 minutes before bed. And that's where I listen to podcasts like your own podcast. And then I just don't do any of the morning routines that people recommend. But, but yeah, so the dark helps produce melatonin, which helps you go to sleep. The stretching and rolling is just good for your posture. It's good for if you go to any physio or massage therapist, they'll tell you should be stretching out your chest. You should be stretching out your hip flexors, your neck, like from sitting all day. So I do that every single day before bed because the stretching also helps you relax before bed. And then you get a really great night's sleep. Yeah.
Yeah, that one's new. I have not heard of the stretching and rolling. And so that's good. I'm glad you shared that. We've heard that the morning routine start the night before, and exhibit A with you putting the kids in their clothes that they're wearing the next day, or preparing out walking shoes or workout clothes the night before so you can just hop into it. That does save time, because then you don't have to make the decision in the morning of like, what should they wear? You don't want to waste your willpower making that minuscule decision, right? Because willpower is not at your will. You want to save it for the big decisions at like 9:30, 10 o'clock when you're ready to hit work. And so, that is unique in the way. I like the rolling and the stretching piece. I might incorporate that to help with sleep, induce sleep as well. Just hearing the benefits, I can see how it would help tremendously.
Yeah. And it's kind of like a routine. Your body gets used to it. So your body, again, will know that sleep is coming. So like when I'm drinking tea every day in the morning, it knows 30 minutes from now, I have to be ready to work. And your body somehow magically prepares you for that. And same thing, if you always turn the lights off and stretch and roll before bed, over time, your body's going to be like, oh, okay, sleep is coming soon. And then you sleep so much better, like lay down, sleep, wake up in the morning, and you're like, I don't remember anything. Like I just slept. Yeah. Yeah.
We're fresh, ready to go. And so what's happening is the brain it's creating habits for you so that you don't have to think of every decision that you're going to make. So it's there to protect and serve and serve in that way. When you say rolling, we're talking about a foam roller. We're talking about rolling around in bed. We're talking about, I understand the stretching piece.
Yeah.
Help me with the
so
rolling.
This probably comes because my mom's a physio. So my mom's a physio and she's always been very adamant that you need to stretch and roll and take care of your body. But in your muscle, you have muscle end, and then you'll get knots in the middle. Yeah. So if you have a knot in the middle, you can only stretch from the muscle end to the knot. You can't actually stretch the whole muscle very well. So what rolling is taking like a foam roller or a hard ball and finding the spots that hurt, like finding the knots, roll them out. And then when you stretch, you can get a full stretch across the whole muscle. So you're supposed to roll out anything that feels tight or where you have knots, and then you stretch it.
So roll first and then stretch.
Yeah. And by that, I'm not a physio. I'm not a health professional. Go talk to a real physio. This is just what my mom said. Who is a physio?
Oh my God. That was good. Ciara, tell us, how can we connect with you? Where can we find you?
Yeah, so my Instagram is probably the best place. It's eventist.ca, eventist.ca, and that's actually our website as well. So eventist.ca is the Instagram handle or the website. And, if you're looking to start a business or a ticketed event, obviously we do tickets, reach out, send us the word podcast, and you can get to use our system for 6 months for completely free. Unless you sell over 10,000 tickets, because then it starts to get too expensive to let you just run it for free. So if you're running Burning Man, unfortunately, we cannot the first 10,000 tickets will be free. And other than that, give us a shout. And we also do have a partnership with Go High Level, which is a really big marketing system. So we offer that to people if you have just a regular business, but you're looking to do marketing and websites and everything all in one place. We also can help onboard you into Go High Level. So shoot us a message, and we have cheaper pricing than they offer on their own website. Yeah.
Very nice. Thank you so much for sharing. It's been such a pleasure having you on today. Thank you again.
Thank you so much for having me.
All right, morning enthusiasts, that's it for today's show. Thank you for tuning in. If you love the Best Morning Routine Ever podcast, we'd love to hear from you. So go ahead and subscribe, rate, and give a review on iTunes or Google Play. While you're at it, tell a friend about the show. Be sure to visit bestmorningroutineever.com and our Facebook group to join the conversation, access the show notes, and discover our fantastic free bonus content. Until next time.
Hey, y'all. As a growing family, my husband and I love game night, especially when it's Wayfair edition.
Let's do it. You got to name as many Wayfair furniture and decor categories as you can. Ready? Go.
Sofas, bar stools, beds, ottomans, outdoor seating, bookshelves, kitchen tables, garden sheds, mid-century modern lamps.
Time. Nice. You got 9 out of a lot. Not too bad. Keep practicing by visiting wayfair.com, where you can shop every style for every home.
Wayfair, every style, every home.